When my sister stole my identity for a $90,000 loan, she never knew about my federal crimes expertise, so the turn that followed destroyed all she built. I sit at my desk in the office of the comptroller of the currency, surrounded by stacks of financial compliance paperwork. My cubicle is tidy and unremarkable, much like the image my family has of me, Anna Reynolds, 32, the quiet one with the safe little government job, nothing to see here. My personal phone vibrates against the desk. An email notification appears on the screen. The subject line is from my credit monitoring service. A new inquiry has been reported. I tap the notification and scan the alert. A new inquiry has been reported by First Atlantic Trust. The bank name means nothing to me. I do not panic. Instead, a cold, sudden stillness settles over me. My training as a senior investigator at the OCC kicks in automatically. My vision narrows, focusing with a precision that comes from years of financial forensics. This is not confusion clouding my thoughts, it is recognition. Someone has made the first move in a game I know all too well. Easter brunch flashes through my mind. Just 2 weeks ago, my family gathered at my parents' Arlington home. The memory is sharp, precise. Caroline, my 35-year-old sister, strolled in late, as usual. She carried a handbag I knew cost more than my monthly mortgage payment, the designer label prominently displayed. She talked loudly about her private equity ventures and regaled everyone with stories of her weekend in Nantucket. The Hamilton portfolio doubled this quarter, she announced to my parents, who gazed at her with unmasked admiration. We're restructuring the entire tech division. My father, Richard, beamed. My mother, Elaine, squeezed Caroline's hand with pride. Then Caroline's eyes found me, the way they always did when she needed someone to diminish. Still processing forms for the Treasury, Annie? Her voice dripped with false sweetness. You should really live a little. I smiled and said nothing, the role I had perfected since childhood. Later, I watched from the kitchen window as she climbed into her new Range Rover, $68,000 worth of gleaming metal, and sped away. Her spending lately had been astronomical, far beyond what her tech firm's salary could possibly cover. Now, staring at this credit alert, the pieces click into place. I slip my phone into my pocket and walk with measured steps to one of the soundproof meeting rooms. Once inside, I close the door and dial Caroline's number. She answers on the 4th ring. Annie? This is a surprise. I'm about to head into a meeting. Caroline? My voice is soft, gentle, the voice of little Annie, the safe one. Quick question. I got a weird credit alert. Did you use my details for anything by mistake? Her laugh is bright, dismissive. You're paranoid, Annie. God, your job's making you suspicious of everyone. Must be boring. My heart rate remains perfectly steady. So that's a no? Of course not. Her voice sharpens. Gotta run, big meeting. The line goes dead. I lower the phone slowly, looking at the blank screen. The mask of gentle Annie dissolves from my face. In its place settles the impassive expression of Investigator Reynolds, the one my colleagues at the OCC know, the one my family has never seen. I know with absolute certainty that Caroline lied. The average person might feel betrayal, shock, or rage. I feel none of these. There is only a cold, analytical clarity. My sister has made a critical error. She chose a target who specializes in financial crimes. I return to my cubicle, logging into my secure government terminal. With swift keystrokes, I access systems that few outside the Treasury even know exist. I pull up a new internal case file template and pause, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. This is not just about a credit inquiry. This is about crossing a line that cannot be uncrossed. Once I type my name into this field, there is no going back. I type Reynolds, Anna in the subject line. Then, quietly and professionally, I begin documenting the first evidence off the record. The credit alert, the timeline, the bank, the call to Caroline and her response, word for word. I note the Easter brunch, the Range Rover, the recent spending patterns that exceed her income. As I work, the afternoon light fades outside my window. My colleagues pack up and leave. The office grows quiet, but I remain, methodical and focused. This is not personal, not anymore. This is now case number OCCFR 23791. My family has always underestimated me. They have mistaken my quietness for weakness, my government job for a lack of ambition. They have never understood that being underestimated is its own kind of armor. Caroline will learn this lesson the hard way. I save the file and close the system. Tomorrow, I will begin the real investigation. For now, I gather my things and walk to my old Subaru in the parking garage. As I drive home to my modest Alexandria apartment, I feel strangely calm. The quiet one with the safe little government job has just declared war, and my sister does not even know it yet. The next day at work, I access my full credit file using my security clearance credentials at the OCC. The quiet hum of the office fades as I stare at my screen. It is worse than an inquiry. There, in stark digital clarity, sits a new trade line, a $90,000 personal loan from First Atlantic Trust, approved 3 days ago. My heart rate quickens for a fraction of a second before my training kicks in, steadying my pulse. Not possible, I whisper, my fingers already moving across the keyboard. I pull the digital application with a few keystrokes. All the information is mine, my name, my flawless credit score built over years of careful financial management, my social security number. But the signature, I zoom in, studying the looping attempt at my name. It is a forgery, and not even a good one. Caroline did not even try to make it convincing. The loops are exaggerated, the slant all wrong, as if she considered the task beneath her full attention. The stated income catches my eye next, inflated by 6 figures beyond my actual government salary. I take a screenshot, saving it to a secure folder. I sit back in my chair, hands folded in my lap, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. The office continues its daily rhythm around me. Phones ringing, keyboards clicking, low murmurs of conversation, while my world has just tilted on its axis. Caroline has always been the star, the golden child. From childhood piano recitals to high school valedictorian to her supposedly prestigious tech position, she has been the one our parents, Richard and Elaine, proudly showcase at family gatherings. I have been the afterthought, the quiet one with the safe little government job, as they dismissively call it. They created this. Their lifelong favoritism built Caroline's sense of entitlement, layer by layer, year after year. Their constant praise fed her hubris until she believed she could take whatever she wanted, even my identity. The monitor light casts a blue glow on my face as the implications sink in. This is not just debt, this is fraud. This $90,000 loan, tied directly to my name, could jeopardize everything I have worked for. My federal security clearance, the foundation my entire career is built on, requires spotless financial records. One hint of financial impropriety and I will lose not just my job, but the life I have carefully constructed, away from my family's shadow. Caroline has not just stolen money. She has endangered my entire life, the one I built in secret, the one that actually matters. My first instinct is to call the bank, dispute the charge, and shut this down immediately. My hand reaches for my phone, but then freezes midair. No, that is exactly what she expects. If I dispute the charges now, Caroline will be alerted. She will destroy evidence. She will craft a story for our parents about how confused I am, how I misunderstood what happened. I will be painted as the hysterical little sister once again, while she covers her tracks. This is not a family matter anymore. This is a crime scene. I pull up my secure browser and begin building my case file, as if Caroline were any other white-collar criminal I investigate daily. My training takes over, guiding my actions with precision and calm. First, I meticulously screenshot everything: the application, the forged signature, the credit report, the loan details. Each image is dated, timestamped, and saved to a secure server. Next, I cross-reference the loan's disbursement date with Caroline's social media accounts. Her Instagram is a catalog of conspicuous consumption. A post from just 2 days ago catches my attention, a selfie in an expansive living room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city skyline. The caption reads, "Just picked up the keys. Penthouse life. Blessed." The timestamp is exactly 1 day after the loan funds would have cleared. I access public property records next. The new penthouse condo in her name was purchased 3 days ago. The down payment, $85,000. The remaining $5,000 would easily cover moving expenses, and that designer handbag she flaunted at Easter. I lean back in my chair. The pieces are now arranged perfectly in my mind. I have the motive, her unsustainable lifestyle. I have the means, my stolen identity. I have the digital paper trail that connects everything. The trap is built. Now I just need the confession. I close the files and shut down my computer, moving with the same quiet efficiency I always have. To anyone watching, I'm just Anna Reynolds finishing her workday. Nothing unusual, nothing to see. As I walk to my car in the darkening parking garage, I feel strangely calm. Caroline has never understood the power of patience, of methodical planning. She has always been about instant gratification, impulsive decisions, and quick results. I turn the key in my old Subaru's ignition. I am playing a longer game now. The quiet one with the safe little government job is hunting, and my sister has no idea she is the prey. 3 months have passed. I make no moves. The loan payments for the $90,000 debt appear on my monitoring alerts, each one just barely making the minimum due date. Caroline is cautious enough to avoid default, too smart to trigger immediate consequences, too arrogant to think there will ever be serious ones. I have been watching, waiting, documenting. My desk phone rings on a Tuesday afternoon. I recognize my mother's number instantly. Anna, darling. Elaine's voice carries that familiar warmth reserved for announcements, not conversations. We're having a family dinner at our place in Arlington this Friday. Caroline has some exciting news. I note the tone, insistent, expectant. This is not a request, it is a summons. What kind of news? I ask, keeping my voice neutral. She wants to tell everyone herself. You know how she is. A pause. You'll be there, of course. Of course, I reply. After hanging up, I sit motionless at my desk, staring at the compliance reports waiting for my review. 3 months of silence, and now this. The timing is not coincidental. Caroline has never been able to resist an audience for her triumphs, real or stolen. I know this is it, the arrogance, the need to flaunt. Friday evening, I park my old Subaru down the block from my parents' Arlington home, the same modest colonial where we grew up. Through the bay window, I can see Caroline's Range Rover dominating the driveway, gleaming under the porch lights. Beside it sits my father's sensible sedan, dwarfed by comparison. I check my phone before exiting the car. The recording app is updated, tested, ready. Virginia is a one-party consent state. I slip the device into my pocket and walk to the front door. Annie. My mother opens the door before I can knock, as if she has been watching for me. Her embrace smells of white wine and that expensive perfume my father gives her every Christmas. Everyone's already here. The dining room is arranged with a precision that speaks of hours of preparation. The good china, crystal glasses, linen napkins folded into perfect triangles. My father stands near the fireplace, nursing a scotch. Caroline holds court near the bay window, gesturing with a wine glass half empty already. Look who finally made it, Caroline says, her smile tight. The government must be running late today. I smile, accepting the barb without reaction. Traffic on the bridge. Dinner proceeds with the predictable rhythm of our family gatherings. My father discusses golf scores. My mother inquires about Caroline's recent business trip to Chicago. I answer questions about my little apartment and whether I have thought about something with more potential than the treasury. The usual script. But Caroline is different tonight. She practically vibrates with contained energy. Her eyes flick to me occasionally, measuring, calculating. She refills her wine glass twice before the main course is cleared. As my mother serves dessert, a complicated chocolate thing that Caroline always favors, I casually place my phone on the table beside my water glass, screen down, unassuming. The red recording light is invisible against the dark tablecloth. Caroline lifts her wine glass, tapping it lightly with her fork. The crystal rings, silencing my parents' small talk. I actually have something to share, she announces, her cheeks flushed with wine and anticipation. Her eyes lock directly on mine, a smile spreading across her face that does not reach her eyes. Funny story. She continues, loud enough to command the whole room. I used your credit to get a $90,000 personal loan. The dining room falls silent. My father freezes, fork suspended halfway to his mouth. My mother's smile remains fixed in place, uncertain. They watch me, waiting for the familiar pattern. Annie absorbs the shock. Annie accommodates. Annie folds. Caroline leans forward, emboldened by the silence. My score wasn't great, but yours? Flawless. You should thank me, I'm building your credit history. The moment stretches between us. I feel strangely calm, my pulse steady and even. I look at Caroline without blinking, without flinching. Why would you do that, Caroline? I ask, my voice quiet but clear. That's bank fraud. Caroline laughs, the sound brittle in the silent dining room. Oh, stop being so dramatic, Annie. It's just family. Fraudulently using someone's identity to obtain a loan is a federal crime. I continue in the same calm voice. It carries up to 30 years in prison and $1 million fine. Caroline's smile falters for a fraction of a second before she recovers. God, you're boring. It's just paperwork. Who's going to know? Who's going to care? The office of the comptroller of the currency might care, I say, taking a small sip of water. The FBI might care. Did you use the money for the down payment on the penthouse? A flash of uncertainty crosses her face. How did you... Just curious, I say. Because that would make it wire fraud, too. They tend to run sentences consecutively. My father clears his throat, finally lowering his fork to his plate with a sharp clink. Now, Anna, I'm sure Caroline didn't mean any harm. She's just... ambitious. Always has been. Richard, my mother warns softly. Caroline's face hardens. Don't worry, Daddy. Annie won't do anything. She never does. She turns back to me. You wouldn't want to explain to your little government friends why your sister needed to borrow your pristine credit, would you? All those awkward questions about family loyalty. Every word is logged, every timestamp noted. The confession is clean, arrogant, and undeniable. I check my watch. I should go. I have an early meeting tomorrow. You're leaving? My mother's voice rises slightly. We haven't even had coffee. Sorry. I stand picking up my phone. Work. Caroline raises her glass in mock salute. The wheels of government never stop turning, right, Annie? I nod politely to my parents, ignore Caroline's barb, and walk out the front door. The night air feels clean after the charged atmosphere of the dining room. I get into my Subaru and drive not toward my Alexandria apartment, but directly to the OCC field office. The building is mostly empty at this hour. Just the night security guard who knows me well enough not to question my presence. The fluorescent lights in my office flicker on with a faint hum. I log into my secure government computer with my credentials, pulling up the file I have been building for 3 months. I fill out the official conflict of interest notice with methodical precision. I attach the audio file from tonight's dinner. I add the forged loan documents, the credit report I have been tracking, and the penthouse purchase, records I obtained through public records. I review everything once more, checking each attachment, verifying each statement. Then I transfer the entire evidence chain to my agency's joint task force. I hit submit and watch as the case vanishes from my queue, escalating to a level I can no longer touch. The counterattack has begun. On Monday morning, I arrive at the OCC field office earlier than usual. The sealed manila envelope containing the evidence sits on my passenger seat like a silent bomb. I sign in at security, my badge glinting under the harsh fluorescent lights as I move through the building with practiced invisibility. My desk phone rings at precisely 8:32 a.m. Martha Green's assistant, her voice crisp and professional. Deputy Director Green would like to see you immediately, Ms. Reynolds. The walk to Green's office feels longer today. 3 doors down, 2 security checkpoints, 1 final breath before I knock. Enter, Green calls from within. Martha Green sits behind her mahogany desk, back straight as a ruler. At 58, she commands the room without raising her voice above a conversational tone. Her silver-streaked hair is pulled into a severe bun, and reading glasses perch on the bridge of her nose. The physical evidence binder lies open before her. Reynolds, she says, gesturing to the chair across from her. Sit. I do, keeping my hands folded in my lap to prevent any unconscious fidgeting. My pulse remains steady. Green removes her glasses, setting them carefully beside the binder. I've reviewed your submission. Her eyes, sharp as a hawk's, assess me. Thorough work, clean chain of custody, irrefutable evidence. I nod once, my face a professional mask. Good work, Reynolds. This is clean. You're recused from this investigation effective immediately. The words hang in the air between us. Not a question, not a suggestion, a fact, delivered with the finality that comes from 27 years at the Treasury. Green closes the binder with a soft thump. The FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office have taken possession of the file. Standard protocol for family-involved cases. She leans forward slightly. Her expression shifts almost imperceptibly, the closest thing to softness I have ever seen from her. And Anna? You handled this by the book. I'm sorry it's your family. Something in her tone, not pity, but recognition. For a moment, I wonder if Martha Green has stood where I stand now, if she too once chose duty over blood. Thank you, ma'am, I say, my voice steady. Nothing more needs to be said. The federal machine I have served for years will now serve me. The case is out of my hands, as it should be. The recusal protects the integrity of the investigation, protects me. I return to my cubicle and open my email. 37 new messages overnight, each demanding compliance reviews, documentation, verification, regulatory filings. I begin methodically working through them, my fingers moving across the keyboard with practiced efficiency. Lunchtime comes and goes. I eat a sandwich at my desk. I review a suspicious activity report from a regional bank in Minnesota. I analyze transaction patterns from a credit union in West Virginia. I answer calls from field examiners in Florida and Oregon. I drive home in my old Subaru, the reliable engine humming as I merge onto the Alexandria streets. I am, once again, invisible, just the quiet one with the safe government job. My phone buzzes at 7:43 p.m. My parents. I debate letting it go to voicemail, but habit wins. I answer. Anna? My mother's voice brittle with forced cheer. You seemed upset at dinner on Friday night, honey. I wanted to check on you. I remain silent, waiting. You know how Caroline is, she continues, filling the silence. She's just ambitious, always has been. She didn't mean anything by it. My father's voice cuts in, clearly on speaker. Your sister's doing important things, Annie. Those kinds of ventures require flexibility, the word they use when they mean bending rules, breaking laws. I have to go, I say, my voice flat. I have a meeting. I hang up before they can respond. There is no meeting, just the clean silence of my apartment and the knowledge that justice moves at its own pace. A week passes. The federal machine grinds forward, invisible to those unaware of its mechanisms but inexorable all the same. I continue my daily routine. The separation between Investigator Reynolds and Anna, the sister, remains absolute, until Thursday morning when my phone vibrates with an incoming text. Caroline, the FBI just called me. What did you do? Call me now. I stare at the screen, feeling nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication, just the calm certainty that systems are working as designed. I take a screenshot of the text and forward it to the U.S. Attorney's Office as instructed in the recusal protocol. 3 minutes later, another text arrives. You'll ruin this family. Mom and Dad are devastated. You're a vindictive bitch. I screenshot this one too, send it to the same email address, then block her number. Evidence collection complete. Caroline's panic is merely another data point in the investigation. The next morning, I sit in conference room B with 4 colleagues. We are discussing banking integrity measures for community banks and rural markets when my phone vibrates silently in my pocket. A news alert. I do not need to check it. Across town, I know federal agents are approaching Caroline in the parking garage of her new penthouse condo. They will be wearing dark suits, badges clipped to their belts. They will identify themselves professionally, inform her of the charges, read her rights. I am not there. I do not need to be. The evidence chain I built, the credit reports, the forged applications, the loan disbursements traced directly to her penthouse down payment, and most damning of all, her own voice on that dinner recording, has already done the work. Anna? My colleague Tim looks at me expectantly. Your thoughts on the proposed compliance thresholds? I clear my throat. The current structure creates an unnecessary burden on institutions under $50 million in assets. I recommend a tiered approach based on risk assessment rather than blanket requirements. The meeting continues, the world turns, justice advances. And across town, my sister learns what I have always known. True power is not found in Range Rovers or designer handbags. It is found in discipline, in systems, in doing your job flawlessly. Some might call it revenge. I simply call it compliance. On Friday morning, federal agents sift through Caroline's penthouse condo with methodical precision. Financial records spread across her dining room table, designer shopping bags stacked in corners. A Treasury investigator taps through her laptop, while another catalogs the contents of a safe hidden behind an abstract painting. Martha Green stands in the center of it all, supervising the operation. What's the damage? She asks. The lead agent looks up from a stack of loan documents. It wasn't just Anna. We've found 7 distinct stolen identities, all used for various loans. 7? Martha's eyebrows rise. Colleagues, former friends, and... The agent hesitates. Her parents, Richard and Elaine Reynolds. Martha absorbs this information with a slight nod. Total amount? $410,000 in fraudulent debt, spread across multiple financial institutions. Martha walks to the window overlooking the upscale neighborhood Caroline had bought her way into. Smart, she says, not with admiration but professional assessment. Each loan just under $50,000. She knew the threshold. The agent agrees. Stayed below advanced underwriting requirements at every institution, made minimal payments just enough to avoid triggering default alerts. Outside, agents load Caroline's Range Rover onto a flatbed truck. The $68,000 vehicle gleams under the autumn sun, soon to be seized like everything else. The jewelry found in her bedroom safe, the investment accounts traced back to fraudulent funds. Every asset connected to criminal proceeds, Martha observes. She built her entire life on stolen identities. An agent approaches with a tablet. Deputy Director, we've found messages to a cousin about moving funds offshore. Attempted deletion, but recoverable. Martha nods. Add obstruction to the charges. The doorbell rings in my Alexandria apartment. I check the peephole to see my parents standing in the hallway, faces drawn with distress. I take a deep breath before opening the door. Richard Reynolds steps forward first, his face flushed. They arrested your sister. They say she used our names too. Anna, you work for the government. You have to stop this. Tell them it's a mistake. Elaine clutches her husband's arm, mascara smudged beneath her eyes. Please, Anna. They're saying terrible things. Fraud, identity theft. They took her away in handcuffs. I stand in the doorframe, neither inviting them in nor step back. I can't. And it wasn't a mistake. Richard's expression hardens. What do you mean you can't? After all we've done for you, you'd do this to your own sister, to your family? The words hang in the air between them, the familiar weight of obligation and guilt. I feel nothing. She did this to us. I just did my job. I close the door, the soft click of the latch more final than any slam could be. 6 weeks later, I sit in a federal courtroom, 3 rows behind the prosecution table. The U.S. attorney stands before the jury, her voice clear and confident as she presents the government's case. The defendant, Caroline Reynolds, has been indicted on 15 counts of federal bank fraud, wire fraud, and aggravated identity theft. Caroline sits at the defense table in a navy pantsuit, her hair pulled back in a severe bun, missing the usual glossy shine I remember from family gatherings. Without her designer clothes and makeup, she looks smaller somehow, diminished. The judge, a stern woman with silver-streaked hair, addresses the court. The court denied bail due to evidence of attempted obstruction of justice. The defendant attempted to delete financial records and contacted relatives about moving funds offshore after becoming aware of the investigation. I watch as Caroline's shoulders tense. Her sister has not looked at me once since the trial began. The prosecutor approaches an evidence cart. The government would like to present Exhibit 14, an audio recording made by the defendant's sister, Anna Reynolds, during a family dinner on July 12th. A technician prepares the audio equipment. The courtroom falls silent as Caroline's voice fills the space, clear and mocking. I used your credit to get a $90,000 personal loan. You should thank me. I'm building your credit history. I remember the moment with perfect clarity, the wine glasses on the table, the heavy silverware, the weight of my phone recording every word. Caroline had been so confident, so secure in her belief that I would never fight back. The prosecutor continues methodically through the evidence, the forged signatures on loan documents, the bank records showing transfers to Caroline's accounts, the seized assets purchased with stolen funds. The jury listens with increasing discomfort as the full picture of betrayal emerges. 4 hours, that is all it takes for the jury to return. The courtroom fills again for the verdict. On all 15 counts, we find the defendant guilty. Caroline's face crumples for the first time, reality crashing through her carefully constructed facade. At the sentencing hearing 2 weeks later, the prosecutor stands before the judge. Your Honor, the government requests the court consider several aggravating factors. The defendant exploited family trust, engaged in deliberate concealment of her actions, and has shown zero remorse throughout these proceedings. The judge reviews the sentencing memorandum, then looks directly at Caroline. The court sentences you to 9 years in federal prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release. You will pay full restitution of $410,000 to the victims. Furthermore, you are banned from employment in any financial institution for a period of 10 years following release. The gavel falls, the sound echoing through the courtroom. I watch as federal marshals approach to take Caroline away. My sister finally looks at me, eyes wide with disbelief, as if still expecting me to intervene, to save her, the sister she had underestimated for 32 years. As the marshals lead Caroline out, I remain seated, my expression unchanged. The power Caroline once wielded through charisma and arrogance dissolves in the face of federal law, systematic, impersonal, and final. Not revenge, I think. Justice. I sit at my desk in the OCC, processing the same compliance forms I have handled for years. But the world around me has shifted. 2 months after Caroline's sentencing, my safe little government job has taken on new meaning. My office phone rings. It is my mother. Anna, we need your help with those credit bureau forms. Elaine's voice wavers between contrition and embarrassment. Your father tried, but... I'll stop by tonight, I say, voice neutral. Have the account numbers ready. Later, at their Arlington home, I spread the fraud alert forms across their dining table. The same table where, on that Friday night, Caroline had proudly confessed to stealing my identity. The same polished cherry wood where she had raised her wine glass in a mock toast to her cleverness. I work methodically, explaining each section with detached professionalism. The trade lines will be removed in 45 to 60 days, I tell them, pointing to the relevant paragraph. The credit bureaus have confirmed. My mother nods, stealing glances at me when she thinks I am not looking. My father stares at his hands. The emotional damage will linger in this house like a permanent stain. But the financial damage, all $410,000 of it, is now contained. My phone buzzes. A text from Martha Green, my office, 9 a.m. tomorrow. The following morning, I knock on the deputy director's door precisely at 9. Martha gestures to the chair across from her desk. Reynolds. Her usual greeting, clipped and direct. She slides a folder toward me. Inside is an official letter with the OCC seal. Your handling of the Reynolds case was textbook, ethical, methodical. She taps the letter. Which is why you've been selected to lead our new National Anti-Fraud Task Force. I scan the document, absorbing the implications. Lead investigator, national scope, interagency coordination. The Quiet One processing forms is now the running point on financial identity theft across the country. Martha says, the closest thing to a smile I have ever seen from her, effective immediately. I nod once. Thank you, ma'am. A week later, I receive an envelope from my parents' attorney. Inside are signature pages for their revised trust and estate plan. Caroline has been removed as executor and beneficiary. A no-contest clause has been added. I sign where indicated and mail the documents back without comment. That evening, I stop by their house to drop off some tax paperwork they had requested. As I walk to my car, my father follows me down the driveway. The porch light catches the new lines on his face, the slump in his shoulders. Anna. He stands beside my old Subaru, keys jangling nervously in his hand. I wait, silent. His voice catches. He clears his throat and tries again, unable to meet my eyes. We thought quiet meant weak. Turns out it meant disciplined. I study him for a moment. 32 years I had waited for this validation, for them to see me clearly. Now that it has arrived, I find it means nothing. I do not reply. I do not need to. I slip into my car and start the engine. The Subaru, 10 years old, paid off, reliable, purrs to life. I merge into the evening traffic, flowing through the quiet streets of Alexandria. The streetlights catch my reflection in the rearview mirror. I am content to remain invisible, just another commuter heading home from a safe government job, because sometimes the most powerful move is not revenge. It is doing your job flawlessly. And sometimes the greatest freedom comes not from being seen, but from no longer needing to be.